So there have been, over the 40 years that I've had the privilege of working with extraordinary leaders, there were some that really stood out to me. And they were loved and respected by the people that they led, by the industries and communities that they served. And the reason had a great deal to do with the way they impacted people. They were a real source of inspiration for me and in writing this book that I've written. Because I think it's so important that we bring out the best of ourselves. And when I watched leaders do this consistently, with character, with integrity, I was so inspired by them. And obviously, it contrasted with the ones who were rude or overbearing or had lost their humanity somewhere along the way and needed to regain it. There are two pillars of grace. And one pillar is reaction management. That is, and these leaders who stood out manage their reactions. I mean, we have them all day long. It's that we don't want to lead from them. We want to use them to figure out constructive ways to deal with the problems we are facing. Grace and its constructive power are needed now more than ever. And as I mentioned, because something was different in the way the grit and gravitas of these leaders impacted people, their approaches, their behaviors, the quality of how they interacted with people, warm, caring, genuine, and in their demeanor. And in the book, it simply said the A, B, C, and D. So our approaches, are they constructive? Our behaviors, are they constructive? The quality of how we interact with people, is that constructive? And our demeanor, our overall way of being. Do we come into a room with grace, being constructive, dealing with problems constructively? So there's a lot to think about here. And one of the things we wanted to look at today is the restorative power of grace. And grace helps us heal, re-inspire ourselves when we lose our way, we're not inspired. And it helps us re-inspire our teams because we have to restore ourselves to then bring this inspiration to the men and women who depend on us, to the people that we are leading. And the pandemic has had us all on edge. We lived with its constant threat and the stress of it. And that has not been without consequence. And I would imagine that you have seen some extraordinarily heartbreaking things through your work, getting through this. We felt this stress physically, emotionally, spiritually. I know there are times that I felt so afraid for all of us and for our world. But we need to give, as Lisa said, our nervous systems ways to rest and feel safe. Think about what comforts you, what restores you, what renews our energy. We have to be present to that. What renews our energy? How do we keep ourselves from becoming drained and depleted? How do we reconnect with sparks of inspiration? So let's see if we can find some answers to this together today.